Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits.
And I'm Callie, also known as Calsters.
And today is Sunday, November 5th, 2017. This is episode 294? I think 94.
I think so.
I just checked it. Yeah, 294. Crazy sauce. We are 6 episodes away from 300. I can do math. It's not often that I can, but when I do. Anyway, how have you all been? Been good here. I've just been crazy, but you know, what else is new? I'm just discombobulated. I can't find my words. I don't do a whole lot of talking to people anymore now that I work from home, so talking in front of a camera or the occasional human interaction takes me a little bit to get the ball rolling, so just bear with me. But anyway, hopefully you all are adjusting to the autumnal weather. It has been dreary here the past week, very gray, wet. I have tried to mow the lawn, not to really cut the grass, but to shred the leaves, if you know what I mean. It's the lazy man's way of raking your lawn. That's how I roll, quite literally with the lawnmower. I roll it. So I've been trying to mow the lawn, and I was going to do it, in fact, yesterday. I was planning on it. And the minute, like 10 minutes before I'm ready to go outside, it starts raining. And I'm like, well, guess not. And it's been raining today, so. We've had some storms rolling through the area around my house, not through our cities. But rain and dreariness, so. But I'm going to escape that next week. I'm super excited. So I'm going on vacation next week to Cancun. So. Again, Callie knows all about this. I'm not super excited about getting there. But once I'm there, I'm hopefully going to make the best of it. So, other than that, it's just been a lot of working for the business here at home. And that's kind of been my 2 weeks. Going to knit night, and that's about it. I haven't had to travel the past 2 weekends. It's been amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. It's been nice to be able to just have a weekend at home. So, how's your 2 weeks been?
My 2 weeks have been really, really busy. That's the understatement of the year, or statement of the year. Just been busy with work. We've got a huge work event on Thursday that I'm really nervous about because I'm kind of la capitaine of this event, and it'll be fine. It'll go fine. And it'll be fine. But I'm a little nervous about it. There's a little bit of pressure riding on it from me and from others who shall not be named. But I cannot wait till December for a plethora of reasons. Excuse me. And
plethora or pleather? Because I used to wear pleather back in high school. I think you meant plethora.
Plethora, sorry. Yeah. I was mid.
I think pleather has had its day.
It has. Unless, that's your jam, then there's no critique from me.
I think I owned a whole pleather outfit. Pants and jacket.
Just the pants and the jacket?
Yeah, and I wore them actually in a children's show I was in high school. And I was the evil sidekick. And I literally kicked on one show, and I tore the pleather. So, wasn't in the crotch though. I believe it was the knee. I think I tore the knee out. Anyway, enough about pleather. Back to your weeks in review.
So I'll talk more about that in December once that finally actually happens, and then just been really busy this past weekend. So yesterday I had to teach a financial workshop to my kiddos, and that went really well because I had to teach kids how to write checks, and this is now the third time that I have done it, and it went really smoothly, so I was really happy with that. Other than that, not too much is going on. It's just a lot of stuff I can't talk about, so that's what that is.
Well, that's it. That's our weeks. So let's get into the knitting, shall we? What's taking a bow? I have 2 things. One you can see, but I'm going to make you wait to hear about it for the last and final time, since it's been 6 months. It's been on the needles. But first, guess what? I finished another hat. So I used Leading Men Fiber Arts Box Office, which is our worsted weight, in the primordial colorway. So I'd done a knit swatch sample for my sample book, and then I used the other half for a hat. So let's put on all the woolies, because we actually have a fan on, because Miss Callister's likes it a little airy and breezy, and so
I got hot.
I get warm too, but I'm actually liking these because the fan is actually, I'm a little chilly right now. That'll change, I'm sure. But yeah, so worsted weight hat, I use a size 6 needle for the brim, 2x2 ribbing, cast on 96, change to an 8 after 2 inches, and do stockinette for 7 to 8 inches. And then I do alternating decrease and rest rounds where I decrease, you know, I do 12 stitches, put stitch markers, and then I do knit 2 together, knit to the last 2 stitches, slip, slip, knit all the way around. So people have asked for a hat pattern, and you know, maybe one of these days, but I'm like, there's enough simple hats out there that, you know, once you do, you can find a plethora of hat patterns on Ravelry, and then once you do enough hats, I mean, you kind of whip up your own recipe. So this is mine. Super happy. I'm going to be donating this at our local yarn store on Tuesday. This will be my final hat for the hat drive, and I'm super excited about that, and I'll talk more about that later. So this will be my final hat for this year's hat drive, but I'm already knitting for next year's, so that's awesome. The second thing I finished, I don't know, this monstrosity, this starting point, which this is the ending point of my starting point, as somebody posted on Instagram, which is my like 5:45 a.m. FO shot of this. I couldn't hold back and made a crazy face. I think is probably getting the most amount of likes in our Instagram history, which I'm just like, great, people love my crazy face. But I can't take myself too seriously. So I finished the starting point, which was a mystery knit along, designed by Joji Locatelli. I cast this on May 13th, and I bounded it off on, I don't know, a couple days ago. Took me forever. It's all out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Show Stealer, which is our merino cashmere nylon. And let me take it off and show it to you. I'll never get it placed as perfectly as it was. Man, did blocking do this wonders. I actually blocked it in my bathtub. You know, just got a little bit of running water, put some soak in there, and just that way it could have room to... It wasn't layered on top of each other. Not that I thought any of the colors would bleed, but, you know, and they didn't. Because I'm that good. But anyway, it is a long stole. So for the last time, the gray is London Fog, the green is Double Your Pleasure. The speckle I custom dyed for this project, but I believe it's going to be our January 2018 colorway called Starting Point in honor of this project. The black is Darkest Hour, and the gold is Smoky Quartz. So Andy likes this color palette except for the green, and I think the green is what gives it its personality, and I'm really happy with it. People were loving it on Instagram, so I'm hoping to... It'll probably be laid out on our table in our booth next show season, but we have a PVC set up for our old sign, and I was like, it'd be really great to like have that up above everything on the PVC, but we'll have to see how it works out for Stitches West. So I'm going to ask for Callie's help here in just a minute, but I'll show you the whole extent. So it goes here, and all the way, and I did do the eyelets in the middle. Mine does not have the lace like the rest of the pattern, but she did not give you another option other than eyelets in the middle. There is a hole in the center, if you can see that. She does say that you can leave it. I did because of the lace, or you could, you know, go in and finagle and tighten it up. And then guess what? It goes in reverse. So it is probably about 8 feet long. And it used exactly, guess what? Exactly, because I measured all of my leftovers. On point, 1,500 yards.
Dang.
So I was like, that's kind of awesome that that worked out that way.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy with it. Was it a slog? Yes. Did I lose steam plenty of times? Absolutely. Would I knit it again? Probably, if I had a lot more knitting time. My problem is right now that I just don't have the knitting time that I would like. So there's tons of things I want to knit. And so yeah, there's that. So that's my starting point, all done. And yeah. So, and this was knit on a size 6 US, I believe, 4mm needle.
Very cool.
So that's what I finished. What have you finished? You have a finished on there too.
I do. I'm really excited to have this done, especially because last time that we recorded, I shared that I had basically abandoned this project and has been on the needles for about 1.5 years or better. So this is the Creme de Menthe shawl by Baby Cocktail Knits or Thea Coleman. It is knit in Cascade 220 Superwash in a purple like colorway, and it was knit on size 8 US. So I have not blocked it yet, but it's gonna sing.
And it'll grow definitely with the Superwash too. So
yeah,
it should be very nice.
Yeah, so it's already a pretty generous size as it is right now, unblocked. So it is gonna grow immensely.
And it'll drape a lot better though too once it grows. Once it loosens up and grows, it'll drape much better. Yep.
I used 2 full skeins of Cascade 220 and about 3/4 of a third skein. So that was in my stash from a previous yarn store closing that I happened to be with you at when I bought it. So yeah, so I was really excited to get this done. And it felt very validating casting it off. So
nice.
Yeah.
It was resurrected.
Yes, yes.
All right. What is performing this week? What did I do with my show notes? Pull them out. What did I do with them, Callie?
They might be on the desk.
No. You know what? I told myself to turn my phone on silent. And I forgot. That bothers me. The show notes are somewhere. I'm gonna need them. So. Well, huzzah. I don't know where it went. Anyway, let's start off with my A Day to Remember, designed by Joji Locatelli. I'm finishing up my Joji train. Because remember, I had the girl from the grocery store at Starting Point and A Day to Remember, all on the needles at the same time. This is being knit out of Madeline Tosh Prairie, which is their lace weight, a single ply lace weight in the Cove colorway. And I have about, I think 4 more rows, another eyelet rows, and then 6 more rows in the bind off. So, but there's about 400 and some odd stitches on the needles right now. So it's a semicircular shawl. The top is actually at the bottom down here, so. But, I love this color, and it was very popular, but I was telling Andy with the single ply and the color and the lace weight, I'm like, I'm putting all this time into this shawl, and it's going to be done, and I'm sure it'll be beautiful when it's done, but it almost has that, like, dingy color to it, like it's not a very, it's kind of just a scrap of cloth, you know,
It's kind of got that mildewy color.
Well, yeah, or just, you know, very grungy and dirty and like, yeah, like somebody, yeah. Anyway, but I'm sure once it's done and it's modeled correctly, it'll be beautiful, and then it's going to be donated somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere. So there's that. And really bothers me. Oh, there they went. They flew. Tried to fly behind my yarn stash over here because of the thing. Okay, and that is... Oh, I lost the first page. Nope, still back there. Still back there. Got it. Got it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Dang, fan. That's knit on a size 6 US 2, which is a 4mm. My grandma's favorite microfiber blanket, I again maybe put in 2 rows. I didn't bring that up here. I'll show it to you when it's done. We haven't been watching a whole lot of TV downstairs. Andy might have gotten a Nintendo Switch, and so he's been playing that or watching football, neither of which I care to sit and knit and watch. So, The next thing on my needles is Flax by Tin Can Knits. This is my sweater I'm knitting, and I'm using Barocco Vintage Colors in number 5220, which is Cafe Latte, and I'm using a size 6 and 8 US, which is a 4 and 5 millimeter needle. So I was just working on this morning while I finished watching Amber, the Yarn Hoarder's new podcast.
I also watched that this morning as well.
And I felt so bad. Her voice sounded even worse than it did when I did go visit our friend Amber. Oh, and I meant to show that. So I'll show that in a minute. I did go visit her last Monday, and she's suffering from pneumonia right now, and she actually is in Miami traveling with her husband on a work trip. But she's feeling a lot better. It's just her voice is really raspy. So I'm working on the sleeve. I showed you I was done with the body, I believe, last time. So here's where I'm at. And look at that first sleeve, y'all. Look at that. It's going. So, I'm still working on the decreases, and holding it up to the body, I may finish the decreases and almost be done with the sleeves. So we'll see. I might not have to do a whole lot of knitting, flat, or not flat, but just knitting plain and before I have to do the ribbing at the bottom. So this is a commercial yarn, but it is variegated, so I am alternating skeins as if this were a hand-dyed to try to avoid the pooling and flashing, and for the most part that worked. I joined some new colors in at the bottom, and I actually had to switch and use one skein from the inside rather than the outside because I felt like the colors were matching up too well. I really wish I didn't have to do that with the sleeves, but I think I'd rather just not run the risk of having any pooling or flashing, so I'm alternating on the sleeves as well. So that is going. This will not be going with me to Cancun. Actually, I don't know if much of anything I have on the needles is going to go with me. I think I'm bringing all new projects because I can. And I'm justifying that that's okay. So I think what I'm going to bring is about 2 skeins of sock yarn. I'll only knit one at a time, but if I'm planning a lot of knitting on the beach and in the hotel. So if I finish a pair, I need to be able to cast on another. But I also think I'm going to bring yarn to do a striped. Did I grab all my yarn? Striped boomerang. Stop.
Snug.
It is. It's really, really jammed in here. All right. Next up, Behind the Scenes by Michelle Hunter. I believe all the clues are out for this. And I just finished Clue 2. And that's like barely the beginning. Then there's a lot of knitting in Clue 3. So I'm behind, but it's okay. I'm using Haiku O in the Wow colorway. And I'm using a size 10 US 8mm needles. This is going to be a long scarf infinity cowl where you put buttons in here. And so as you can see, the seed stitch in between the diamonds, it's got cabling, and what's going to happen is it'll keep the seed stitch in diamonds, but then there'll be a small cable that runs up the middle diamonds that are done in reverse stockinette. So, and then you will do this section again, and then I think something like this is done at the end. So, we'll see.
I like that.
I like it too. It just sheds a lot. It's that baby alpaca in there, so it gets on my tummy when I knit, because my tummy's a little big and extends out. But I brought it to knit night one night, and I was doing all right following the directions at midnight, but it was getting in my nose, the alpaca, and I was like, and then the last thing I'm working on. Oh, it's right there. I am a hot mess today. I'm working on another hat in our Winter Wonderland colorway, which looks like this. This is our November colorway of the month, which was part of our kits, which, thank you so very much, y'all. We sold out in a day. That's crazy. So I just got all the rest of them packaged up today. I finished about the last third we did between yesterday night and today. So all of them are packaged and heading out tomorrow. So some people have already been receiving theirs. Super exciting. So you can kind of see here the Winter Wonderland colorway. And I just started the stockinette not too long ago. So I did my 2 inches of ribbing and I'm in the stockinette. So that's all that I have actively on the needles. I did want to show you, while I was at my friend Amber, she gifted me a skein of Into the World. And do I have the Into the World something? Hikoku sock, which is 460 yards. It's the same as our Showstopper base. And it's in the Reynardine colorway. Oh, I don't know if I'm saying that right or what that's in reference to. But it's a bunch of beautiful browns. And we threw it on our sock knitting machine, our circular sock knitting machine. So I got to crank out a tube. And this is about 50% of the skein, but it'll be enough with contrasting cuffs, heels, and toes to be a pair of socks for either Andy or myself. And so I need to learn how to actually cut into my knitting, and I will be finishing these off as socks. And then I may take the rest over next time I go visit and crank out the other half and make another pair for either myself or Andy, whoever doesn't get the first pair. So I just wanted to show you that. That was super cool. So this is just waist yarn that starts the tube, and what she had actually done is she cranked a different tube, and so we cut the waist yarn in half, and then we did some more waist yarn at the end. So this is 64 stitches. I usually do 72, so we'll see how they wear, but I did try on some socks that she had made on the machine, and they seem to fit fine. So
Cool.
So that was fun. That was a new experience. What you working on, girlfriend?
So in picking up old projects and getting them off the needles, I picked back up my Fancy Pants Fiber sock in the Fireflies colorway. And it's in her Dapper base. It's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. I do have the first sock done, sans heel, so I have the waist yarn in for the heel on the second sock, so cruising along. This actually is about 2 days worth of knitting for me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was, I think with stripes it's a lot easier because you're like, oh, I only have, so many rows, and then it's like, oh, I could get through another color set. And I was telling Steve, I've got some work that I have to do, and I'm like stressing myself out about it, and so like knitting on this doesn't help, but it does, because like I find it super relaxing, and it's a catch-22 among many other things. But anyways, I'm knitting these on a size US 0 needle. That's what I knit all of my socks on. So
'cause she's loose. And she's a loose knitter. Whoa! No, I'm just kidding. She's just a loose knitter.
I'll let that slide.
Even though I'm really kind of hoping she's wearing a little cute baby doll dress today. I'm really hoping that the camera's not catching her.
But I will say that when Amber came up to visit, when Corey was teaching at our local yarn shop,
which Corey's IROC knits.
Yes. So I asked Amber, because she said on one of her podcasts that she wears shorts underneath all of her skirts that she's been making from 100 Acts of Sewing. Well, I said, well, that's great, but like I can't find bike shorts, which is what they are. She gave me a link to an Amazon. Life-changing. Like, I want to buy like 70,000 pairs, roughly. So then that way I can just wear them underneath like all of my dresses, which I have, which is pretty extensive because I have them for work and other things. So, anyways.
Well, let's move on to what's in rehearsal. I think it's a lot of practice, and my show notes just want to fly away. What's in rehearsal? What am I going to cast on? I am hoping to cast on the Winter City, which was the pattern featured in our Winter Wonderland kit, which takes 3 skeins of DK weight yarn, and I need to dye myself up some, because y'all bought it all. So, we do actually have pre-orders up for the Winter City sets that comes with the 3 skeins, as well as a coupon code for a digital copy of the pattern available in our shop through the 8th, which is just a couple more days. But if you're watching this and you're interested, you can pick up the yarn and pattern set in our shop, but the kits are sold out. So I'm hoping to cast those on because Leading Men Fiber Arts is hosting a knit along for that shawl in our Ravelry group, but that's the Leading Men Fiber Arts Ravelry group. So you have to cast it on after the release date, which was November 1st, and then it must be finished by the end of the year in order to be eligible for prizes. The prize is going to be a $50 gift certificate to the Leading Men Fiber Art Shop, and you do not have to use the 3 colors in the kit, but one of the 3 colors must be Leading Men Fiber Arts. It doesn't have to be all Leading Men Fiber Arts, but since this knit along is hosted in the LMFA Ravelry group, I'm going to ask that you use at least some LMFA. I just kind of think that's appropriate. So, and then you must be a member of the group in order to be eligible to win as well. But there's a chatter thread and an FO thread there. We ask that you chatter in the appropriate thread and just put your finished object pictures in the FO thread. But I'm super excited about that. So I'm hoping to cast mine on when I get back from vacation. And then I'm also planning, like I said, some socks for vacation, as well as maybe a boomerang that I might actually start on Friday before we leave, because I'm going to be teaching, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's what I plan on doing.
I have 3 projects planned. When I actually start them, I'm not totally for sure. Maybe after these socks, maybe when I feel less stressed. But 2 of them have to be done relatively soon because they're going to be Christmas gifts, and they're 2 of the 3 projects are going to be the Snow Day shawl by Mina Phillips, and one is going to be done in Detroit Red Wing colors, and the other is going to be done in Chicago Blackhawk colors. So I already have all the yarn for it. Some of it's wound, some of it's not, and then I would like to do the Snow City shawl because I purchased a kit. I got one, so I'm very excited about that. Although I will say that I bought a new winter coat last weekend, and the official color is called Raisin, but it's really a plum color. And not that the colors won't go with it, because I still have my blue coat too. Because my blue coat is a little bit heavier than my new coat, but I wanted something a little bit more flattering.
Blue coat, plum coat,
yeah,
raisin coat, winter coat.
I've never had one of these coats before in terms of, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I feel it's worth mentioning. So the coat that I have is by a company that is out in Boston. And so, it has, like, I don't want to say it. Like, they have, like...
It has boobies? No? Okay.
This goes back to a conversation we had yesterday, so...
What do I do with these?
Okay. Side story.
Don't worry about it. Just steamroll right on.
You're so mean. So this coat has ties at the abdomen that you can cinch it in to make the coat a little bit tighter, a little bit looser. I call them my Turkey Day ties. So, like, if you eat too much on Turkey Day, you can let it out or you can gather it in. But it's nice because my shoulders are extremely broad, and so finding coats and jackets and that kind of thing is really kind of hard for me. Especially like when I sit down and drive, that's hard if I want to keep my coat zipped up. So these were so nice to be able to find a coat that, 1, I like the color, 2, it had these ties because, again, you know, for that reason that you can let it in or let it out. So yeah, I was really pumped about that. And also our yarn store had a fashion show a few weeks ago, and I may have tried on a dress that looks a little bit ridiculous on me, and I may or may not post it on on Instagram later today.
I thought it looked nice on you. But it had big armholes.
Yeah.
Like, way too big of armholes.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a knitted sack that you wear with leggings.
Yep.
But Callie was keeping her hands inside the knitted sack.
Yeah, because I could wear it and keep my whole arms out, or, like, inside the dress, and, like, still have room to, like, basically...
Play the fiddle?
Yeah, like, it's huge. And because I looked at it, and I was like, I don't know if that's going to actually fit me.
And it was, what, the medium?
Yeah,
did
something
she say?
like that.
But so her hands were inside this knitted sack.
Yeah,
tunic,
a knitted tunic.
whatever you want to call it. And she had her arms crossed, and she was talking about the armholes yesterday, and she goes, well, what do I do with these? And I was like, what, your boobs? And then, hilarity ensued, and there was kind of an inside joke going on the whole afternoon, but now it's not so inside.
Yeah.
You all know about it. So, questions of the world, what do I do with these? Anyway. So let's move on. Behind the scenes, my spinning. Hey, I finished some spinning, and I brought it up, and I put it right next to me. Like I was planning on showing it. So I finished some Knit Spin Farm bats, which were a mixture of wools, Dorset horn wool and Ile-de-France wool, which never heard of either before, never spun either. They are a rustic wool. They are not superwash. It is not next to skin, but I think it would make a good outer garment. Some durable mittens, maybe, a hat, something of that nature. So I spun it as a 2-ply fractal spun, and I got 286 yards of a DK weight, I'd say. It did poof up, and it was about 4.25 ounces. So you can see it's blues and browns with those shots of the kind of chartreusey green in there. So, but yeah, you can definitely feel it. It's a rustic wool.
Yeah.
But it's a woolly wool. And those are kind of all the rage right now. So this is available up in the Liedemann Fiber Arts shop. It's the only hand spin I have in there right now, but I do what I can. I like to spin. It just takes me time. Don't get a whole lot of crafting time. So I use my random number generator on my fiber stash, and I'm so happy I picked this finally, because this is one of the first fiber I ever bought, I believe. This is some Miss Babs fiber, and I'm not even sure if she dyes fiber anymore. And I picked this up, I believe, at the first Super Summer Knit Together in Nashville that was ever hosted. That was before we started dyeing. That's where I bought my original wheel off of somebody and used. And this is some merino bamboo silk top in the Horizon colorway, so it's lovely. Very soft silvers with these shots of teal green going through it, and then occasionally you have these golden pops through. So I'm spinning it a 2-ply fractal because that's what I'll do. I'm trying not to go super thin, which I could with this fiber content, but ain't nobody got time with that. So this is the second 2 ounces. I'm slowly getting through the first 2. But that's what I'm spinning on, and I am freezing with that fan on now. You're like, this is lovely. I love it. Though you were cold at the yarn store yesterday,
I
and
was.
no one else was.
I know. Generally speaking, if I'm cold, then
it's like the Arctic.
It is, or I'm getting sick. One of the two.
You better stay. We are not making out after the podcast. I'm not going to Cancun sick.
So many plans ruined.
So, in the seam shop, my cross stitching, I'm losing the bug again. So you probably won't see cross stitching for a while. I look at it like, oh, it's in my rotation of things to do, and I'm like, no, I want to knit. Again, that limited time, when things are really stressful and you have only so much time, you really want to spend that limited time doing what you really want to do. You know? All right, so let's move into the spotlight. What are we watching and reading? Oh, I forgot to mark down the books that I finished. I'll have to look it up. Shows that I am watching: American Horror Story Cult. I think there's like 2 more episodes. I don't know. This season just really is not doing it for me. Then Will and Grace we're really behind on. Haven't watched it in like 2 weeks. Slasher. I watched this. I talked about it on the last episode. I finished season 1, and season 2 has newly been released. That's what kind of drew my attention to the show on Netflix. But season 2 is completely different from season 1. It's like American Horror Story, where it's a different
theme, or
it's a completely different storyline. Whether it's the same actors, I don't know. I haven't watched season 2. My sister started it. But season 1 was alright. Like I said, it's kind of that B-rated slasher film, but it was interesting. And then Stranger Things season 2 came out, and I finished it on Friday night. I took my time with it. I took a whole week rather than the weekend, and there was only 9 episodes. It took me a little bit to get into it, and to be honest with you, the last 2 episodes were, in my opinion, the best 2, where things kind of felt how I wanted them to be. But it was good. I don't know if anything's really jumping out at me for a colorway this year. I have an idea. We'll see. Maybe that'll be December's colorway, because I have 2 options right now, and neither one of them are striking my fancy for December. So maybe when I get back from vacation, I might try the new Stranger Thing colorway. I don't know. The Upside Down was so good last year, and the colorway, yeah. I don't know if I can outdo that. So those are the shows that I'm watching. I finished a book by Michael Crichton. I've never actually read or listened to a book by him. He's the author of Jurassic Park. So one of his books came up on a deal on Audible, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. And it's called The Great Train Robbery, and it was written in the 70s, actually. And it was okay. I found myself drifting off and not paying attention for large chunks of time while I was dyeing yarn during the day. Then I'd come back in, but really it didn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? It was not integral. It's just, and I think it's loosely based on reality. I could be totally lying to you. But it's about a train robbery and the master plan that it took over a year and some odd time to get there. I think I gave it just the medium, middle of the road 3 stars. Was it horrible? No. Did I stop listening to it? No. I finished it. But it didn't blow me away. So, and now I'm starting something completely different. And it is kind of knocking my socks off, even though I didn't think it would. Our friends Leslie and Laura, who host the Knit Girls podcast, talk about their books. And there's a book in particular that they constantly reference called The Lightning Struck Heart. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. And so I bought it on Audible. And I'm just going to say it is about a gay wizard's apprentice and his best friend, which is a hornless gay unicorn. And pretty much everybody in the realm is gay. And it's super flamboyant, which is not completely me. People who are that flamboyant kind of actually get on my nerves. But I was telling Andy about it. I said I thought he should listen to it. I think he'd actually like it. I think what makes it better is I'm just listening to it. I don't have, you know what I mean? It's not like TV or movies where you get the visual too. So like, it's hilarious. It is not for children. There is plenty of cussing and tons of sexual innuendos and not even innuendos, just right there. So if that is not for you, then I don't recommend it. But so far I'm enjoying it, and it is a longer book. Leslie just said that the 3rd book is actually being released this month, but it is an independent publisher, I believe. And I don't have the author's name, I'm sorry. But they said that the 2nd one's not even out on Audible yet. So I'm like, oh. But I'm actually enjoying it. I really am. And I catch myself chuckling out loud several times a day while I'm listening to it. So that's what I'm watching and reading.
Well, on the flip side...
Are you my hornless gay unicorn best friend?
So what I'm reading is actually by Temple Grandin, who is extremely well known in the 4-H world, as well as in the livestock world. If you are not familiar with her, she is one of the, I don't know if authority is the right word, but she is a very, she's kind of a spokesperson for people with autism that function in like high degree professions. I don't know if that maybe is the best way to explain it. But the book that she wrote that I'm reading was published in 96, 97, I believe. And it's called My Life in Pictures. And what she does is she has developed a lot of the humane and ethical ways of working with cattle. Cattle is kind of her specialty. And she's known in the 4-H world because she was a 4-H'er, and she speaks out about how 4-H actually really, really helped her with working with her skill sets that she has because of autism with 4-H. She also is a University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana college graduate, so that's a tie to her as well. And I really, really am liking this book. There's a lot of things that she talks about in her childhood that she was like, you know, it really wasn't ever pointed as autism, as autistic characteristics, and some of those things, you know, really, like, either I have friends that have kids with, like, some of those characteristics, or it's helping me understand some of our youth in 4-H a little bit better, and, like, trying to understand it from an autistic person's view. Not that everybody that with autism reacts the same way or functions the same way or anything like that, but it's a very neat, not having lived with autism or with someone that is very close to me with autism, it's a very eye-opening experience of, like, trying to understand that world a little bit better. So,
So our books are very similar.
Yeah, totally. And so, I'm still reading that, and I'm still reading Driving Mr. Albert, so, yeah, you could say that we pretty much read the same types of books, right, and not that there's anything wrong with it, and as far as things that I'm watching a lot of the NCIS, regular NCIS, NCIS LA, and NCIS New Orleans. So that's kind of my TV guilty pleasure. Oh, and Love and Hip Hop, because the world would end if I did not watch every current season, which they're going to do a Miami version of Love and Hip Hop, and I don't know how I feel about that, so whatever. That's all I have to say about that.
Stash enhancement. I got some. I do. So, y'all probably know, if you watch The Grocery Girls, Primrose Yarn Company is all the rage these days, and I follow them on Instagram. And I've actually seen her in person at Stitches Midwest, not this year, but last year she was at Midwest. And I walked through her booth, and I didn't know what I was going to do with any of it, so I didn't get anything. And then, you know, as fades, not like a fade, knitted fade, but, you know, fads come and go.
Fads?
Phases, there we go. Phase and fad, I put it together in a fade. Which she's known for her fades, Primrose Yarn Company. Anyway, she was having a sale around Halloween, and it was 25% off everything in her shop. And I looked around, and I was like, well, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. But I don't know what I'd do with it. And so she had grab bags of fingering weight for 3 skeins. And it was not a bad deal when you got the 25% off. My issue, and I'm going to say this, and everybody has their own thing, and everybody runs their business different. My issue is when you gouge somebody on shipping. I'm not trying to throw shade, but the shipping was outrageously expensive, and I paid it. It's my own fault. But I thought maybe it would come in priority. I thought maybe the packaging might be a little bit different, and I know what it costs to ship it, and it was almost triple what it actually cost to ship it. So that was my issue. But that being said, the yarn is lovely, and I'm glad to be able to add it to my stash. I sat down and added the yarn to my stash yesterday, and I was like, what am I going to do with it? I still don't have an idea of what I'm going to do with it. The colors came, and they're nice. Again, it's not something that takes my breath away, but it is nice. And I was like, well, maybe I'll do a What the Fade. No, not What the Fade. That is brioche, and I don't like brioche. I know. I don't like brioche. I learned it. I'm good. Don't need to do it ever again. But the Find Your Fade. No. Free Your Fade. There's too many fades. The Free Your Fade by Andrea Mowry is a 3-skein asymmetrical shawl. Looks like it has a picot edge. I will not be doing that. But I kind of put these 3 skeins together because it's outside my comfort zone and outside my wheelhouse, and I was like, they were not meant to go together, and they don't seamlessly go together, but that's where I have troubles. I need things to be really beautifully blended, or
contrasting.
but like all in the same wheelhouse. I don't do things where I'm like, that could work. I don't know. So I said maybe this will work. But the issue is there's 2 of one base and 1 in another. And you knew that in the grab bag. She said, you'll get a mixture of bases. You will get some like potlucks or one-of-a-kinds in there. And so I was also thinking, before we hit the record button, Joji Locatelli just released 2 shawls in honor of the Grocery Girls. One named Tracy and one named Jody. Jody is a DK weight shawl because Jody likes DK, and Tracy's is a 2 skein fingering weight. So I might actually take 2 of these skeins and do a Tracy with them and save the other one, which does not seem to go with them as well for its own deal. So we'll see. But, so it came in a Ziploc bag like this with her logo, Primrose logo, and you can see the colors there. So 2 of these are on her Sophia base, which is an MCN, a merino cashmere nylon. 3-ply, you get 414 yards and 100 grams. And this one is called Heads Will Roll, and this is a misfit. So, I'm sorry, to be bright here, it's blowing out the light colors, but it's like a soft pink with some greens and bubblegum pinks and aquas and purples running through it, but it didn't dye up exactly how she had wanted it. I'm sorry, that is totally blowing out. There we go.
I actually really like this color.
So it is not me at all, but I thought it paired well with the other Sophia yarn, which is the Wanderer.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a dusty purple with shots of like a blue steel and like a reddy pink in it. And so I was thinking that maybe this would go as a Tracy shawl, where this would be the main part, and then it looks like there's eyelet mesh, and I would do it in this color. So, and then the third skein that came is her single ply fingering weight. 100% superwash merino, 435 yards and 115 grams. And this is her Adelaide base in the color. This is a potluck color. So this is kind of just a mix mash of colors. Cannot be repeated. And this is probably my favorite. This is a little bit more me. So I was thinking like the What the Fade would go like this, which works. But to me, this one's in one another base, which is fine. But it also, I think, jumps out a little bit more, you know what I mean? Doesn't meld as beautifully. So I was like, maybe we'll just do these and this as 2 separate projects.
This would be, if you were looking to take one down to do a sock tube, this would be nice socks.
Well, it's single ply, and there's no nylon. So.
Just kidding.
So it wouldn't hold up well as socks, but
it would be pretty socks.
It would be, and I think it's very nice. It might be a nice cowl or a sockhead hat, but, so I don't know. I really just don't know. It's for the first time I bought without a plan, and I tried to give it a plan, and I'm still questioning it. So, and I think it's because it came all together, so I kind of want to do something all together, but didn't have to.
Yeah.
So there's that. That was my stash enhancement. That's what I indulged in.
I got the kit, so.
The Winter Wonderland kit.
Yes, so. This is mine. It's excellent. I got mine hand delivered yesterday. I just really love a good Fat Squirrel Speaks bag.
She does some quality work.
It does. And I downloaded the pattern too, so I'm really excited to get started on that.
Good.
So.
Alright. We have a giveaway this week. I did mention last episode that we were going to be giving away some yarn from Bitter Buffalo. I'm going to hold off till next episode because I went to her shop and she doesn't have anything in it because I know she was vending this past weekend. So I thought she might have her stuff back open, but she does not. So I want to be able to drive traffic that way and have you guys go look at her shop and see what she offers. But I'm going to wait until she has things in her shop before I give that away. So, from our Fairy Yarn Mother, we got another shipment of knitting books in. So this one that we're giving away this week is Knitting 24/7 by Veronique Avery. And I believe it has 30 projects for every day. And in order to be eligible to win this book, you must be a member of the Dramatic Knits video podcast group. And there's a going to be a thread in the group, and the prompt this week that I want you to answer is, if you could go back in time and change one thing, what would that be? That could be about your own life. That could be in world history. You choose. But if you could go back in time and change one thing, what would it be? So that'll get you entered as long as you are a member of the Dramatic Knits group to win this book, and then we will use a random number generator to pull for a winner next episode. So and then it has some nice things in here. I flipped through, and some things popped out to me as well. So that is this week's prize. All right, let's move into a round of applause. Our Operation Chemo Comfort Hat Drive Knit Along is going on and going to be coming to a close soon. So I've been knitting all the hats and donating them. Our local yarn store, Les Moutons Rouge Knittery in Bloomington, is a drop-off point, and Kelsey from Operation Chemo Comfort is coming down next Saturday to pick up the hats from her. So that's super exciting. We got to meet a viewer yesterday, Diane, who is somewhat local to us, and she drove up and dropped off 10 hats. Thank you so much, Diane.
And it was nice to meet you.
It was. And so we got her hats. I'm up to, I will have donated 17 hats this year. And then we have a multitude of hats from the two sisters in Texas who donated hats. On top of, we're already in the 130s. So I wanted to do better than 150, and we've done that. So I'm super excited. And I will get a total from Kelly before she donates them. So I'm going to consider, since I kind of initiated that contact of becoming a drop-off point, I'm going to consider that all part of the Dramatic Knits total, whatever she collects. And then we'll add that to the thread for those of you who individually donated or mailed off your hats. So remember, you must mail your hats by November 15th so that they're there in time for the hat drive giveaway, where they give them out at the beginning of December. And do not forget that for every 25 hats in the thread, we will give an additional prize. So, we've got a lot of prizes we'll be pulling from, but that's awesome. So.
Yeah. I've got 2 that I need to package up and drop off with Kelly or mail. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Last episode, we did a giveaway from the two generous sisters behind Mint Rain Hand-Dyed Yarns and Anomalous Mind, who does project bags and hand-dyed yarns as well as many other things. And so Anomalous Mind donated this beautiful bag. And then Mint Rain Hand-Dyed Yarns donated a skein of self-striping yarn in the Gingerbread House colorway that coordinated with the bag so beautifully. And you all went to their shops and told me what you loved from each shop. And you all love their stuff. So hopefully you were able to take advantage. They do have a coupon code good through the end of the month, which we have a link in the code in our Ravelry group, Dramatic Knits Video Podcast group. There is a thread now that I've sticky called coupon codes. So if you're a maker and you want to list coupon codes for our viewers, please, you do not need permission. Just go right in there. We may not actually announce them on the podcast, but they're there for members of our group to see. So I locked the thread this afternoon, and we picked number 17, who is Holly at Home, and that's Holly. She didn't say where she was from, but she said she would love some Jamie's Kilt from Mint Rain Hand-Dyed Yarns and the Queen Bee Project Bag from Anomalous Mind. So congratulations, Holly.
Cool.
If you would please private message me on Ravelry, Dramatic Knits, give me your first and last name and mailing address, and I'll get this out in the mail to you. If I do not hear back from you by Thursday, this will not be shipping out to you until the following weekend, as I will be out of the country. So, all right, October 2017 has come to a close. Did you know that?
It is.
Halloween has happened. It was actually quite chilly on Halloween.
It was.
I had knit night. I avoided all the young trick-or-treaters, and I think Andy turned off all the lights and hid upstairs because he didn't want to answer the door, only because of the 2 dogs, mainly is the issue, trying to answer the door with them. So, anyway, October's over, so we have our Race to the Finished Object contest winners for that month. The first prize was generously donated by Cheryl. And is that right now? I'm questioning that. I think it's Cheryl. No, Kathy. Cheryl's my mom's name. Kathy. Sorry. Who we got to see in Michigan. And she donated this kit from Brigier de France. And it has this awesome textured yarn and a pattern for a wrap collar, which looks like that. And it comes with 2 skeins of the yarn. And the winner of this kit was number 197, which is another yarn 9 from Colorado. She did not give her name. But congratulations, another 99. That's a tongue twister. Another yarn 9. If you would, please, again, private message me Dramatic Knits on Ravelry with your first and last name and mailing address. I will get this out to you as well. The second prize is a pattern from our featured designer, who is Christopher Salas, who designed the Winter City shawl in our kit. And you get to pick any one of his giftable patterns. Make sure that it can be gifted and that it is not published outside of his own design name. He's designed for Dream and Color and things, and so sometimes that becomes an issue of who owns the rights. If you win, please, if you have any questions, just let me know or email Chris if you want to make sure. So the winner of one of his patterns is number 253, who is Mommy Q, and that's Nancy from Washington, D.C. And she did an amazing Enchanted Mesa capelet. So not the sweater, but she took it and modified it into a capelet, which is awesome. So congratulations, Nancy. If you will private message me with what pattern you would like, I'll let Chris know and he will gift the pattern to you. That being said, we do have our November Race to the Finished Object contest open. Do you want to say anything about that?
Sure. You can do any project. It doesn't have to be cast on in the month of November. It just has to be finished in the month of November. Any base of yarn, any pattern. So each finished object gets you 1 post in the finished object thread, and at the beginning of December, the first time we record in December, we'll pull a winner for a tangible physical prize, and then we'll do one for the pattern prize as well. So Christopher is our featured designer for the month of December as well. So
nope. Just November.
Just November.
Yeah, this is his 3rd month.
I was testing everyone.
So I'm glad you brought that up, though, because I would have forgotten. I wrote a note. We're looking for a new featured designer. So if you're a designer, if your friend is a designer, if you have a favorite designer and you want to PM them and say, hey, you should let the people at Dramatic Knits know and offer to be their featured designer, we're looking for a new one. Featured designers can be featured for 1 month all the way up to 6 months, and all it requires is donating 1 pattern per month. And that gets you lined up in our featured designer as well, which we do a knit along with the featured designers every year. And just as a thank you and a way to give back and to showcase those designers. So, yeah, PM either one of us. We can get you in contact or get you signed up. So, there's that. All right, we're going to move into center stage, all things Leading Men Fiber Arts. This is going to be quick. I have no yarn to show. I showed you the Winter Wonderland colorway. Pre-orders for that, as well as the Winter City sets, close on November 8th. So, well, they'll be open through the 8th. On the 9th, that Thursday, I will close them. If you place your pre-orders later, they will probably not ship out till towards the end of the month, only because we are going on vacation and we can't dye in our hotel room. Dye yarn, that is. I mean, we could dye, but we don't want to do that either. So
took a turn of events there.
Yeah. That being said, we are going on vacation, so any orders placed between Friday the 10th and Friday the 17th will not ship until either that Saturday or the following Monday, the 18th or the 20th, simply because we're going to be gone. So we're going to leave the shop open. I will try to leave a thing when the shop opens, a picture where it says that, but yeah. So just be forewarned, I'll post something on Instagram and the Ravelry group as well on Facebook. So there's that. Upcoming events this Friday, November 10th, I am going to be teaching and vending at the Knitting Pipeline Eagle Crest Retreat, which is close to Washington. If not in Washington, I can't remember exactly where it is. I got the address. Washburn, I think, maybe.
Yep.
But there's going to be a small group of people there for the retreat. It's going to be really intimate. I'm going to show up in the morning, kind of set up my yarns to peruse, wide variety. There will probably not be any Winter Wonderland. There's not going to be kits and all that stuff. But just kind of bringing a smattering of things to lay out that people can peruse after breakfast. And then I'm going to be teaching my boomerang class at 10 o'clock. And then some shopping from about 11 till lunchtime. And then I'm going to pack everything up, and I'm going to drive back home and unload the van and finish my packing. And then when Andy gets home from work, we're going to be driving up to Chicago to stay the night in a hotel up there before we fly out Saturday morning for Cancun. So that's fun. And then shortly after we get back, the first weekend in December, which is December 2nd, that Saturday from 10 to 4, our local yarn store is hosting her event, which is called Hand-Dyed Holiday. This is year 3, and she will have thousands of skeins in from hand dyers. She'll have a trunk show from us. She has a new hand dyer she's bringing in, more Hedgehog, Madeline Tosh, Ba, Zen Yarn Garden, Sweet Georgia, Dream in Color, you name it, she probably has it.
Plus, if you're not looking for yarn, she's got tons of notions and needles stocked and ready to go for that
buttons, too. Lots of buttons and books and magazines. It's just a lovely story, and it's crowded to begin with, but it will be crowded on that Saturday because one, there will be so much yarn, and if you want to be able to peruse, I would say come after lunch because it usually thins out around noon. And then it's pretty relaxed in the afternoon. So I usually stay there all day and knit and chit-chat. And I'm just saying there might be a small gift if you purchase some Leading Men Fiber Arts there. You already got it. I'll tell you. But you might get a small little token of our appreciation if you purchase some LMFA at Hand-Dyed Holiday. So mark that on your calendars. If you are within driving distance of Bloomington, Illinois, it's well worth the trip. If you've questioned about, we've talked about this shop a lot. This is the one day. She calls it the greatest day of the year. Yep. There is also going to be an exclusive colorway this year for Hand-Dyed Holiday for her from us called the greatest day of the year. So, just saying. It will be well worth the trip. Yeah. There might also be other people that'll show up. You never know.
Who knows?
So that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining us today. Yes. I am freezing. Put a fan on in November. But it actually was warm out today and humid when we went grocery shopping, so I'm just a wuss.
It's true.
Anyway, I'm I'm loving the starting point on me. It's growing on me. I'm not narcissistic at all. Anyway, until we see you again in 2 weeks, when I'm either tan or lobster red and crispy, don't worry, we have sunscreen. And I'm freshly back from Cancun because we'll be recording that weekend. So until then,
we hope you
knit something dramatic.